A very good evening, dear viewers. Welcome to the English News Bulletin here on Rwanda Television. We believe you had a good start of the week. Let's begin with the headlines. President Kagame urges leaders to prioritize citizens' well-being and avoid repeating the same mistakes. Financial experts urge women and youth to take advantage of programs that provide access to affordable financing. My name is Olivnet, and it's always a pleasure to have your company. Now let's kick off today's edition. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Paul Kagame, has urged leaders across various government institutions to reform their working methods and stop repeating the same mistakes, warning that such habits continue to slow down citizens' development. We have details. The consultative meeting brought together officials from central and local government. It aimed to strengthen citizen-centered governance, improve coordination, and enhance the quality of public services. The Minister of Local Government, Dominique Habimana, acknowledged that poor service delivery remains one of the main complaints from citizens and continues to hinder development.
The first priority is to improve service delivery. Services are still delayed and citizens often have to move from place to place seeking them, which hinders both their well-being and overall development. We have a commitment to improve these services, starting with land-related services, housing, agriculture, and others. We also continue to face challenges in monitoring and following up on developmental projects. We need to significantly strengthen our efforts to ensure these projects are properly implemented and completed so they can deliver the expected results.
Discussions at the meeting mainly focused on development that addresses citizens' challenges as well as issues affecting Rwandan families. While closing the meeting, President Paul Kagame criticized the recurring excuse among leaders who, when held accountable, claim they forgot, noting that this has been a long-standing problem. He warned leaders against making mistakes and repeatedly committing the same ones.
Kumva kwiharira ikintu cya rusange ukakigira umuntu umwe gusa biterwa n'iki ni inyungu mwa mufite muri ibyo bintu mugira ngo mutazisangira n'undi mwagomba gukora bibiki kibazo kibiki.
Turning public resources into your personal property, why does this happen? Is it driven by personal interest, by the desire to keep things to yourself instead of sharing them for the common good? What is really the problem? I want to understand the root cause because there must be one. We all agree these are mistakes, but what causes them? You who are here, what do you think is the cause? I believe there are several reasons, and the first is bad behavior, including arrogance. Such arrogance can lead you to destroy your own country while you are busy engaging in these actions. You are arrogant. You act with arrogance even when you have nothing. If you behave that way while having something, I would understand, but why be arrogant when you have nothing? What exactly are you proud of?
The head of state also reminded leaders of their responsibility to promote the general interest of the country and to avoid poor practices, including corruption, which negatively impacts development.
Abakora nabi bagerageza guhindura ruswa inyungu zabo.
God created us equally. You have knowledge, intelligence, and a heart. You should be able to understand this. You should use your wisdom, your compassion, and your skills, especially if you have been given these abilities, and use them for the benefit of the country. When the country benefits, you benefit as well. It is impossible for you to work well, contribute to national development, and remain without any gain yourself. But you cannot work only for your own benefit and expect the country to benefit from that. Even worse is using the resources of the country for personal gain.
The meeting, held under the theme Citizen at the Center, included discussions on promoting citizen-focused development, improving service delivery, and strengthening families. It was noted that local government institutions currently provide about 232 services, many of which are now delivered digitally. However, despite this progress, citizen satisfaction with services has declined. In 2023, it was 78.2%. In 2024, it went to 75.8%. Now in 2025, it became 71.7%. This downward trend was highlighted as a serious concern requiring urgent action. Now, residents of districts that ranked poorly in achieving their 2024-2025 performance targets, known as Imihigo, say the results reflect weaknesses in leadership, particularly in effectively implementing planned activities. We have a detailed report. Residents of Nyabihu district expressed dissatisfaction after rankings released by the Ministry of Local Government in collaboration with the National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda showed how districts performed. Among the 27 districts assessed, Nyabihu ranked last with a score of 54.4%, a position residents say is disappointing. Residents of Rulindo district have also raised concerns about the decline in their district's performance. While Rulindo ranked third in 2021-2022, it dropped to second last place in the year 2024-2025 with a score of 59.1%. Residents say many development projects have been delayed, leaving them waiting without clear progress. While some citizens are dissatisfied with their district's rankings, others are pleased with their performance. Residents of Ngoma district are proud that their district ranked first nationally. Similarly, residents of Gisagara district welcome their second place ranking, highlighting positive changes brought about by the performance contracts. These rankings had not been published for the past 3 years, although the practice has existed since 2006. Governance analyst Ladislas Ngendahimana noted that the Imihigo performance system has improved how leaders and citizens engage in development activities, but stressed that results must translate into tangible improvements in people's lives. During a one-day consultative meeting held in Gako, which brought together senior government and local leaders, President Paul Kagame criticized leaders who fail to fulfill their responsibilities, noting that such shortcomings negatively affect the country's development goals. Among the top 10 performing districts in the 2024-2025 Imihigo rankings, most are from the Eastern Province, which are 5 districts. In the Southern Province, there are 3 districts, and in the Northern Province, there are 2 districts. In the Western Province, Nyamasheke district was highest ranked, placing 13th out of 27 districts. Tomorrow news on Monday afternoon at the Parliament of Rwanda. The Parliament hosted celebrations to mark the International Francophonie Day, a day dedicated to countries and communities that choose the French language. This year's celebrations were held under the theme focusing on the role of youth in building a peaceful world. Young people engaged in arts and creative industries in Rwanda said they fully understand the value of peace, especially for a country like Rwanda, which rebuilt itself after the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. They emphasized their commitment to preserving peace through their artistic and cultural work. During the event, the Ministry of Youth and Arts highlighted that young people play a key role in liberating the country and continue to contribute to its reconstruction, leading to the stability of Rwandans that they enjoy today. The ministry stressed that the responsibility to continue building the nation lies largely in the hands of the young people who make up the majority of the population. It also noted that the government is investing significantly in preparing them for this role. This year's Francophonie Day is being celebrated as the French language continues to grow globally, now spoken by nearly 400 million people worldwide. It remains an important medium for education, cultural exchange, trade, cooperation, and international solidarity. Now to the financial sector. Experts in financial management advise women and youth to leverage programs designed to help them access affordable financing and financial institutions, as this will enable them to become entrepreneurs and create jobs for others. Enora Gladys, tell us more.
Ernestine Mwamikazi is an entrepreneur who boldly approached financial institutions and secured a loan, which she says has helped her grow her business, and she now pays about 30 employees every month. What I learned is to be courageous and approach financial institutions. I personally went to banks and took out loans that make it easier for women to repay, and it really helped me a lot. So every woman should be brave and not think it won't work, because I took the leap and I believe it will succeed. However, on the other hand, some youth and women have projects that have stalled due to a lack of capital, and they say they still face difficulties accessing loans from financial institutions.
No, in all honesty, and that is a challenge. So being a very young company, we're almost 2 years old, right? And there's a barrier when it comes to accessing financing as a small company, because banks require a lot of collateral, which most startups do not have. We are indeed a startup, and this locks us out of these funding opportunities. So you find that a lot of startups, ours included, we rely heavily on generating our own revenues. A lot of us bootstrap, something that we have done actually.
Micro, small and medium enterprises account for 98% of all businesses in Rwanda and employ more than 2.5 million people, according to data from the Ministry of Trade and Industry. The Chief Executive Officer of the Kigali International Financial Center, Hortense Mudenge, notes that women are among the most reliable borrowers as they tend to repay loans effectively. She emphasized that their projects deserve greater attention from financial institutions.
Women are becoming big. We're seeing a lot of success that women are achieving, especially when it comes to credit and repayment. So now it calls on us to say how best to support, how best to move away from the traditional, I would say, financial systems to facilitate more access to finance for women and young leaders. But we're also seeing a lot of women representation in other key industries that are coming up. You're talking about technology. It's being led largely by young female entrepreneurs. And so the discussion really is about how do we technology. It's being led largely by young female entrepreneurs. And so the discussion really is about how do we continue to empower them to be able to understand the opportunities that are available, but also to take them on.
Data from the Gender Monitoring Office, GMO, shows that women and girls own 33% of small businesses, while women hold 32% of decision-making positions in the private sector. The Minister of Gender and Family Promotion, Console Uimana, encourages women and youth to continue taking advantage of the opportunities available to them, noting that some are still unaware of these opportunities.
Finally, we must take action. We cannot wait for change. We must create it. I will be calling upon you at the Stock Exchange, the National Bank of Rwanda, the Bankers Association, and other entities of the private sector to chart a clear, actionable roadmap for women's economic transformation. This will be a major milestone to achieving Rwanda's Vision 2050. My request for the Federation of Private Sector in Rwanda is to work with your community to set clear targets, train and invest in women-led businesses, promote women to leadership, support girls and young women to acquire skills in male-dominated trades, including mining, transport, ICT, energy, and infrastructure.
Data from the Gender Monitoring Office, GMO, also shows that there is still a gender gap in some private sector industries, with women representing 11% in mining, 9% in transport, 5% in the energy sector, and 19% in construction.
Now moving ahead, Rwanda hosted an international conference of sign language interpreters from across Africa, mainly aimed at learning from one another and exchanging experiences on how to promote the profession of sign language interpretation. The conference also focused on encouraging countries to develop policies that advance sign language, raise its visibility, and recognize it as an official language in the country. Enora Gladys once more.
In the discussions, the president of the World Association of Sign Language Interpreters highlighted that in many countries there is a shortage of professional sign language interpreters. He emphasized that this issue must be addressed with the support of laws that back this initiative, as it helps fight the marginalization of people in accessing the services.
One of the things that we would advocate for all countries across the continent would be to officially recognize sign languages. So that would be in your constitutions and your laws, alongside the other languages, you recognize sign languages, and that means that deaf people then have rights to use their language in education and in other spheres of public life. In terms of increasing capacity for sign language interpreters,
The head of the Rwandan Association of Sign Language Interpreters, Joseph Musabyimana, noted that this conference is very valuable and that they hope to gain a lot from it in order to promote sign language.
Also, we expect the recognition of this sign language as official language after this conference. As you know, preliminarily we have started the journey with the NCPD and the other government officials to deal about the sign language recognition as official language. So we expect that at the end of this conference, we will see the commitment of the government of Rwanda to this sign language interpretation and sign language recognition in Rwanda.
The president of the African Association of Sign Language Interpreters, Leonida Kaula, highlighted that they chose to hold this conference in Rwanda to support their colleagues in the country.
Even though we all really wanted to host it in Rwanda, because we wanted to support Rwanda for the recognition of the Rwandan Sign Language and also the development of the profession. So we were happy that they had just been registered as an interpreters association. So it was a perfect place for us to come. Everybody wanted to come to Rwanda.
This three-day conference, held at the African level, was attended by over 30 countries from Africa and other continents. In 2023, Rwanda officially approved a sign language dictionary.
Now this marks the end of today's edition. Thank you so much, dear viewers, for staying with us. Have a productive week ahead.